Welcome. We have a very important topic today about pet loss and grieving their loss, what it all means, and how to recover. Welcome to Howling at the Moon, where the mystical meets the practical, and the canine spirit guides lead the way. I'm your host, Leigh Strom. In 2022, I experienced a sudden, life-changing spiritual awakening. After a lifetime of struggling with, who am I and why am I here? For 5 decades, the world felt cold and confusing. Now I see the patterns, the purpose, and the bigger magical picture. My mission? To help you find your way through your own awakening journey. Here, you'll discover limitless possibilities for spiritual growth, powerful healing frequencies, and extraordinary energetic professionals, each designed to guide you into deeper healing and remembrance. Some episodes feature enlightening wisdom from spiritually evolved guest healers, visionaries, and authors. Others are led by the multidimensional canine spirit guides themselves, sharing their unique intergalactic wisdom and frequency. If you've been craving deeper truth, multidimensional healing, and a little cosmic magic, you've just found your pack. Listen and watch on Spotify or YouTube and bring the magic back into your life. So this is another call to action from the Canine Spirit Guides. I was preparing for an interview with a podcast that specifically focuses on this topic, the loss of a pet and grieving and support. And as I was preparing for that podcast, the Canine Guides were imparting upon me the true need that humanity has right now for this type of grief. And they do have a specific message for those of you who are grieving the loss of a pet. And they wish to offer you healing and support and insight, actually, that will help alleviate your feeling of loss. So, if you've read my book, you know that I have experienced many losses of pets over my 50-some years. Having owned 30 of my own personal dogs, it's understandable that I have lost most of them at this point in my life. So I've been through this process countless of times, and each time it's different. So my intention is not for this podcast or this information to be triggering. So if it is a delicate topic for you, please try and stay with me. It will help you if you can stay in the conversation and actually participate in the healing session at the end. It will help you. There are a few things that they want me to share with you about our pets, particularly the dogs, and why we experience what we do when they cross over, that will help us understand better, and it will relieve the sense of loss we experience when they leave. The first concept that they want you to know is that your canines, as well as all of the animals in your life, but for the topic of this conversation, we're going to focus on dogs. But your dog is part of your soul family. And what I mean by that is they are every bit as equal to a soulmate, a spouse, a partner that you are searching for, or you're choosing to spend your life with, or your experience with. That's why Your connection to them is so deep. These animals are also your soulmate. And I know most of us who've had dogs feel this, and we've always suspected this because that connection is so powerful, unlike anything else we've ever met. The reason it's powerful is because our ego doesn't judge it, it doesn't get in the way. And one thing they want us to realize about this connection is that because we aren't resisting it and putting up walls like we do with people, that's what makes it so great. So if you could imagine having the same type of relationship with the people in your life, what if you had that same level of relationship with everyone you encounter throughout your lifetime or your day? Think about that. How glorious would life be? How incredible would this planet be? And that's part of what the canines are here to show us and to teach us. And we've kind of dropped the ball on that. So, unlike our relationship with our dogs, when we interact with people, our ego gets in the way, our walls go up, we're more judgmental with people than we are with dogs. We are more compassionate with our dogs than we are with people, more patient with our dogs than we are with people. Imagine if we could apply all of our experience with our dog to other people. Think about it. What would that take? For me, I'd have to feel completely vulnerable and open the same way I feel when I agree to love a dog that I know I will outlive, right? And you accept that dog, no matter how the dog is to you, you fully accept that dog. So that's one of the messages that's coming through from the canine spirit guides. We need to turn that mirror around and reflect that type of connection with our fellow humans. That doesn't help you with your grief, but it does help you understand the purpose of that beautiful relationship with that canine. Now, another thing they want you to understand is that your canine exists on other planes and other dimensions, on other planets. Your canine is a much more advanced spiritual being than human, than we are. So I know that there's an impression that some canines are horribly abused, and they are. They've had a really tough go of it. They've had some negative experiences. They've been engaged with other humans that haven't treated them well or have misunderstood them. They've had horrible experiences themselves, and there are 2 points that are coming through from the canine guides about that. Let me see if I can keep them straight. Number 1 is that the advanced soul of the canine comes through to be your teacher. And I'll elaborate on that in a second. The second concept they want to share is that some of these canine souls are like us. They come here to learn and to grow. So some of them come in and experience really horrible things because their soul needs to grow the same as our soul needs to grow. So your dog could be one of the 2 different types of canines. And I can easily pick them out because I've had both types of canines in my life. As I look back on it now and as I've been shared this information, I can look back on the dogs in my life and go, oh, that totally makes sense. Because some of my dogs were completely ill-equipped for this planet. They could not interact on a functional level with humanity, with how things work here, with the energy here. They were kind of in a total panic state all of the time and didn't like it here at all. It's kind of how I felt a lot of my life. So I could easily identify those dogs. And then there are other dogs who were masters. I mean, you just looked at this dog and you went, wow, there's a lot going on there. You can see it in their eyes. You can see the wisdom that's just pouring out of them. These are the specific souls who have come to teach you. They have come to guide you, and they have come to share a frequency of healing with you. Sometimes these dogs are also abused. Sometimes they're in horrible situations, but they volunteered to be in that very situation in order to help humanity heal. So they want us to understand that it's not about necessarily, now this is a leap, so hang with me. It's not necessarily about the experience that we perceive that the dog is having at that moment. Because everything they experience here is designed to help us on our journey here. So it's kind of hard to give you examples of that. And I know that for some of you, this is a huge leap because some of us still feel like animals are helpless and we have to care for them. But what I want to share with you now is that they are actually caring for us, which is a real flip as far as what we've been believing this whole time. So just let that sit for a moment. It may agitate you. It may make you angry. You may resonate with it instantly and be like, oh, that makes so much sense. Either way is fine. There's no correct way. If it does agitate you, then there is healing that needs to be cleared around that energy. Anytime you're agitated, there's a healing opportunity. So keep that in mind as we go through this topic. If you feel like you've been activated or agitated, then you need some support there. There's some clarity that you're not seeing that needs to be brought forward. Okay, another point the canine guides are pushing, shoving through, and I've spoken on this quite a bit, is about the timeline. We know that humans outlive canines. It's a factor of their genetic map. They're not designed to be here forever because they are a healing element for humanity. So we're going to need more than one healing element as we progress through our journey, because hopefully as we progress, we're going to be climbing the ladder. We're going to be changing. So our needs are going to change. And because of this, the dogs have to come in at a certain time and they have to depart at a certain time. So you may not be aware of this timeline, but your dog is absolutely aware of it. And I demonstrate this in my book because there's more than one story about how a dog magically just died at a very young age. And there was a specific reason for it that I could not understand. So that's another point that they wish for me to share with you to help you understand this loss in your life. It's not actually a loss. When these canines depart from our life, it's for a reason. So there's a big shift coming up for you. And oftentimes they have to leave in order to allow space for the growth that you are about to catapult into. Or maybe you need a different guide for that type of growth, for that type of healing. So they need to bow out. They need to step out of your life, because if they don't, you're less likely to move on and upward. So they sacrifice their ability to be with you and in your life, although they never leave. We'll talk about that. They sacrifice their position on your behalf for your highest and greatest good in order for you to make a new connection that will help you rise to a new level. So, those of you who've maybe only had one dog and losing that dog was so traumatic you couldn't bring yourself to have another one because you just can't go through that again. What I wish to share with you is that every time that happened for me, the dog that came into my life next, that shared space with me after that grief, was able to connect with me on an even deeper level. The relationships kept getting better and better and better. And the more I grew, the more I understood, the less it hurt, the less pain I felt as they told me they were going to depart. And I willingly walked through that threshold with them. They want me to encourage you to not put that wall up, to not say, I can't do this again. Because one thing we need to understand is that as we experience this pain of this loss, that opens up a cavern that allows us to heal extremely deeply. Our dogs connect with us so deep that when they leave, that's why we feel such deep, horrific pain, right? It's like nothing you've ever experienced. Maybe, I mean, I don't have children, but maybe if you lose a child, it might feel that way or even more so. But that pain allows us access to a very deep part of ourselves that we don't normally have access to. And that's an opportunity for us to heal very deeply. So when they leave us, it's not necessarily a bad thing when we feel that kind of grief or that kind of sorrow. If we learn to work within that space, we can achieve a tremendous amount of healing. And what they share with me about that time, so there might be some of you who are like, well, what do I do? Well, this doesn't feel good. What am I supposed to do with this? And here's your answer. They want you to turn inward. They want you to reflect, spend some quiet time with some meditation music. You can meditate if you know how. Connect deeply with yourself. Go inward and ask, what was that all about? What was I attempting to learn from my experience with this dog? What was the message from the dog? What am I learning now? What am I struggling with now? What is behind this loss? What is behind the emotion? What is it bringing up? It's like a purge of emotion when you experience that loss. And it's very important to actually let that purge come and let all of that emotion leave you. And in doing so, you will have an opportunity to bring in more of your own divine soul. It's actually a gift when they create this space. It's a huge gift from your canine, from the divine, from your own higher self, from your own soul. It's a gift because it causes you to go inward, and it also causes you to ask questions, to seek answers, to seek understanding. Why? Right? Sometimes we go through life and we don't ask why. We don't look for answers. We don't ask questions. We're just so busy in our busy lives that we don't take that opportunity. So sometimes these grief moments happen in order to trigger us into a growth pattern, into a growth opportunity. I have had dogs leave just because I needed that pain to agitate me into growth. Think about that for a moment. If you are grieving the loss of a dog, ask, what growth do I stand to receive in this moment? It's a gift. They do this for us. It's a gift for us, for our souls to mature, to grow and expand. Now, I did mention they never leave us, and I want to expand upon that. There's a couple stories in my book that will demonstrate exactly what I mean by this. But everything is energy. We're energy. The dogs are energy. All animals are energy. Plants are energy. The soil is energy. Rocks are energy. Water's energy. Everything is energy. This planet is an illusion of energy. So we are embodying a texture. Our bodies represent a texture of energy. When they incarnate as our dogs, they are just energetic beings encapsulated in that energy program, right? So just because the body sloughs off doesn't mean your canine, your companion, your soulmate has changed. It hasn't left you. They're just freed up to become energy. And I give an example of this when I lost Tori in my book. As soon as we buried her, she visited me in pure energy. And I felt her around me, and it was so overwhelming to feel the energy of her. I asked her to leave because I couldn't handle it on top of the grief. But she offered it to me so I would know she was still here. So she would offer me comfort and realizing that she hadn't left me as much as it looked like because her body was now lifeless. They don't leave. You can still talk to them, you can still interact with them, and they will come back. That's another thing that should give you relief of your grief. If you want them back, ask them to come back and ask them to show you how to find them. And then you have to open up. You might hear things, clues. You might see things that are clues. You might have memories or dreams that will guide you in the direction you need to go to find them again. You have to be open to this input so that you can find them again. So it's not the end when you lose a pet, when you lose a dog. And this is the same for all animals, but we're just talking about canines right now. So that's something they really want you to understand. Because there are so many people who struggle in this space with their grief for their canine, and this can also apply to any other type of grief. If you've lost a person in your life, a parent, a child, if you feel like you've lost yourself, those are all the same forms of grief. So this podcast could actually apply to all of those scenarios. So feel free to use this frequency for all of those examples. But because there's such a depth of this grief on the planet right now, so many people are feeling so lost without their best friend. The canine spirit guides want to offer you an energetic upgrade, an energetic healing to help fill that void that you feel, and also to help enlighten you to the purpose of that connection, the purpose that that dog served in your life. So we're going to do a channeled meditation here together. If you wish to receive this healing from the canine spirit guides, just acknowledge your consent to receive it psychically, energetically. You want to be able to find a space to sit comfortably, quietly, where you won't be interrupted. Please don't be driving a car if you're trying to do this. And please don't lie down because it's good if you don't fall asleep. Okay, so I'm not sure who's coming in, what Canine Spirit Guide's going to be sharing with us. We'll find out when we get there. What I would like you to do is to sit comfortably, either on the floor or in a chair with your feet on the floor. Thank you for joining me today. The healing session for this episode with the Canine Spirit Guides is now available exclusively through my subscriber portal on Substack. These energetic downloads are sacred transmissions, and by moving them to a dedicated space, I can connect more intentionally with those of you who feel called to receive them. It also helps me get to know you a little better so that I can more effectively serve and support this growing community. If you'd like to access the healing frequencies of this episode's Canine Spirit Guide and future transmissions, just head over to my Substack at heatherleighstrom.substack.com and become a subscriber. Whether you join us there or simply tune in here, the Canine Spirit Guides and I are so grateful to share this path with you. And be sure to stay put because there might be more coming on this podcast. Wow. I don't know about you, but that was quite the journey. I feel completely different, and I wasn't grieving. I can only imagine how some of you might be left feeling completely different if you were in a state of grief during this episode. Keep in mind, this is very similar to how I conduct my private sessions, where you can receive your own private reading and healing from the Canine Spirit Guides. This is how the Canine Spirit Guides work. They're here to help humanity heal. They offer direct and instant healing as long as we are open and willing to receive it. So be kind to yourself today. You just received a huge healing and energetic shift. You might need to rest, provide some space for your body to adjust, because the spiritual body can change much quicker than the physical body. So just provide the space for that to happen. Thank you for participating in this opportunity today. Thank you for watching my podcast. If you did have an experience during this session, drop me a note in the chat. Let me know what this was like for you. And please love your dogs, love your people, love yourself. Get connected with your divine purpose and your divine frequency. That's all for now, folks. Love you very much. See you next time.
Canine Spirit Guides, The Healing Power of Man's Best Friend by Leigh Strom. We've always suspected dogs are magical angels from God. In this groundbreaking book, you'll discover the specific divine gifts our canine companions really possess as they facilitate our healing, elevate our awareness, and expand our consciousness. Man's best friend has their own spirit guides, which is why they appear in our lives just when we need them most. This award-winning book, Canine Spirit Guides, The Healing Power of Man's Best Friend by Leigh Strom, is available on Amazon.com and heatherleighstrom.com. Get your copy today and begin your journey.